Hi guys, this is Fairy AniRecaps here. Today I will recap an anime called Ousama game. Spoiler alert, watch out and take care. Kanzawa Nubawaki got transferred to a new school, but when his new classmates tried to speak with him, he was rude and didn't want to know them and ran outside. Honda Natsuko and other classmates invite him to participate in a school's patent race tournament. Nubawaki hears two girls talking about Natsuko, and despite her parents died in a plane crash, she is very kind and cheerful. The race starts and Natsuko helped the class win the race, and they all took a photo together. At midnight, precisely 12 o'clock, our protagonist gets a message. It declares that all the class members including him will participate in King's game, and Nubawaki and Natsuko must kiss each other. Nubawaki gets terrified, because he knows this game, and that's why he doesn't make friends. The rules of the King's game as follows: the participation is not optional, the King's orders must be carried out in less than 24 hours, or there will be punishment for disobeying the King's orders, and no one can drop out midway from the game. The next morning he tells his classmates about the game, but they laughed and thought that he is a freak who just wanted to kiss Natsuko. Nubawaki waited for his time to come and take his punishment, but suddenly Natsuko came and confessed her love to him. Nubawaki turned her down because he loved someone, but she is now dead. Eventually Natsuko kissed Nubawaki when he was distracted, and they evaded the punishment by a minute. The next orders came in, and after some individual orders, there was an order that prevent anyone from getting deep rest. Nubawaki told Natsuko to call the other classmates, and tell them to stay awake. Unfortunate, by the time the orders came there was many students already asleep, and they all got punished by hanging themselves. Nubawaki tried saving one of them, but he couldn't. The other classmates meet, and Nubawaki tells them that he played King's game before, and he is the only survivor of the game. Out of frustration, they gang on him thinking that he is the king and he is killing the others. Suddenly, a message came from the king. It declares that Sato Yuichi will be punished by bleeding to death. Sato starts bleeding from all his body by the most gruesome way possible. Everyone was in shock of what just happened. Nubawaki told them to work together to save each other, but Natsuko has to hook up with Teruwaki for the next order to not get punished. Nubawaki starts telling them about the previous King's game, and how it was so harsh and gruesome. The first victims were Toyota Hideki, who was ordered to touch Ishii Satomi's chest, but of course they didn't do it, and they died by hanging themselves. The next order was that Daisuke and Misaki must hook up, despite Shota, who was Misaki's boyfriend, threatening Daisuke, but the two of them did it out of fear for their lives. The next day Shota gets the authority of the king, and he can order anyone to do anything, and the order must be carried away. Out of rage he didn't get the game seriously, and ordered Daisuke to go and hang himself and die. After Daisuke went to the roof thinking about his final moments, Nubawaki goes after him and calms him. They both discovered that they had the same dream of being a musician. They decide to train at Daisuke's house, because even if the game was true, Nubawaki would stop him from hanging himself. They go with Naoya to Daisuke's luxurious house, and then they kept singing until midnight. Everything was okay, until Daisuke went to get them some drinks, and suddenly a message came saying that he obeyed the order. Nubawaki went to look for him, only to find that he hanged himself. We get back to the current situation, and Natsuko wants to give her virginity to Nubawaki, as she loves him. But he declines, and then Teruwaki tries to do it with her by force. Suddenly her true personality appears and she kicks Teruwaki on the ground, and she started taking her shirt off. Everyone including Teruwaki was terrified of her true nature, and then Nubawaki and Natsuko went somewhere else to talk. Natsuko didn't agree with his idea of helping each other to get out of the game. She screamed and accused him of harassing her, and then the boys, as always, ganged on him. She told Mizuki to send the word die to Nubawaki's phone, because she has to send the word die to two of her classmates. Despite Mizuki not wanting to do it, Natsuko tries very hard to convince her. And again everyone is finding her acting strange. Suddenly a classmate called Akamatsu Kenta came calling Nubawaki's name. He finds Sato's dead body, and Nubawaki beaten on the ground. He helped him, and then got angry at the others. Natsuko told Mizuki to send the other message to Kenta, but Mizuki didn't want to be a murderer. She threw her phone, which got broken, and she didn't know what to do. Kenta couldn't handle Natsuko's new personality, and took Nubawaki to a hospital. Mizuki went with them, and Kenta promised her that he will help her. He will order himself to protect her and save her as his life depends on it, because he got the king's authority. Kenta asked Nubawaki about the game, and he tells them about what happened after Daisuke died. The whole class got an order to choose between two classmates, Naoya and Kana, and the one with less votes will be punished. Every side started to care about his friend, and Misaki chose Naoya after disputing between Nubawaki, who supports Naoya, and Kana. Kana is so desperate to live, she started to get herself dirty in order to live. Shota sees her using her body to convince the guys to vote for her, and he tells Nubawaki about her, and he promised he will vote for Naoya, because he is sorry about Daisuke. The voting starts and Kana lost the poll. Out of fear of the punishment, she ran and jumped from the window. She didn't wait to see her punishment, which was confessing to someone she likes. Kana was sent to the hospital, and Nubawaki tells Naoya that he messaged many classmates and tricked them into choosing Naoya, and he is feeling guilty of what he has done. Before midnight, Chami, Nubawaki and Naoya were waiting for the new orders, but when Kana died, now her punishment must be carried on by Naoya, and he now have to hook up with someone before midnight, and there is only 10 minutes left. After Naoya refuses Nubawaki's offer to sleep with Chami, he punches him, and Chami slept with him while he was unconscious, and they saved him, but at a higher price. After all what he told them, Kenta tells him that he did it only to save his friend, and there is no one goes to this extent to save a friend. The other classmates take Natsuko as their leader and ask her about what they will do next, and while they speak she finds Nubawaki's phone on the ground. Nubawaki and Kenta knew that the phone might be in the park, and Nubawaki told them about a village that he must go to, because that village was the first place that the king's game happened 30 years ago. Now the village is abandoned, but there must be a key to end the game. The next morning they took a train, and Kenta asked Nubawaki if he thinks that the king is one of the classmates. Nubawaki told him about a girl called Nami who thought the same thing. One night, she got the king's authority, and she ordered herself to touch the king. In the next morning she started touching all the classmates to find who the king is when the obedience message comes. Then a suspicious girl called Ria told them that she is the king, and they can't do anything to stop the game, unless they kill the king, and every method they use that is not guaranteed will cost them someone's life. After all what she said, she let Nami touch her, and confirms that she is not the king. Nami touched all the class members and didn't find who the king is. She got desperate and waited with Nubawaki for her death, and she was about to confess her feelings to him, but her punishment came and she got blind. The next order came stating that Nubawaki must lose something important to him. Then Nami went missing, and after searching for her and smashing everything that Nubawaki cares about, she calls him and she knew that he cares about her, and she will sacrifice herself for him to live. Nubawaki knew that she is at the beach, and tried breaking up with Chami. Then he find that she left him a confession on the sand, and went to drown in the ocean to save him. Suddenly Ria appears and tells him that he is stupid. Ria provokes him, and tells him that they must enjoy the game, and he can't beat the king with his resolve, and she is also ready to kill anyone to beat the king, and save her life. Later, Yusuke calls Nubawaki, and he tells him that while he was researching the king's game, he found that every victim received a character and a message before they died. Then they check Nami's phone, and they find that she got a character before dying. Nubawaki tells him about Ria, and Yusuke tells him that she used to be a cheerful girl, until her biological father abused her. Suddenly the new order came in. No one in the class is to do anything unnecessary in the king's game. The order was not clear and many class members started dying, one after the other. Finally, after many deaths, Nubawaki realized that they mustn't cry about anyone. So he called Naoya and made him call the others to tell them. Then Yusuke called Nubawaki and told him about Uniki village, which the king's game happened there 30 years ago, using letters instead of messages. Nubawaki told him to go with Naoya to expose the king, as he can't keep up after all that just happened. Yusuke told him that he has no time left because he couldn't keep himself from crying, and then he asked him to take care of Kari, the girl he loves. Despite his body started to dismember, he sent the information to Nubawaki, and died a gruesome death while he was trying to hear Kari's voice for the last time. Nubawaki called Kari and told her about the order, and that Yusuke is fine, and he sent him information to beat the king. And then after telling Naoya about the village, he was waiting to depart. But then suddenly someone came behind him and hit him. He later wakes up with his hands tied, and he finds Kari is the one who hit him. She accuses him of being the king and killing everybody, because he lied to her about Yusuke being fine. He tells her everything and told her about Yusuke's feelings for her, which made her cry, and while she was untying him, she had a heart attack and died. Suddenly Ria picks Kari's phone, and asks Nubawaki about the research that Yusuke did on the king's game. The new order comes, and while there are 10 people left, someone has to roll a dice, and according to the number, he will designate classmates to get punished with the one who rolled the dice. Otherwise, if no one rolled the dice, all the remaining will be punished. Everyone doesn't know what to do, but Ria sent a message to everyone, telling them to meet at the dam park to solve this problem. After they met, they started arguing, and Toshiyuki wanted to sacrifice his friend and make him roll the dice. Nubawaki intervenes and stops him, and then Toshiyuki takes Chami as hostage and threatens her with a knife. Nubawaki was going to roll the dice, but Naoya took it and rolled it himself, and surprisingly the number was 6. The message came, and now he had to say the name of 6 classmates to be designated. He later says Keita's name by accident, and he died of decapitation. Under Toshiyuki's threats, Naoya had to name the other classmates, but when it came to Nubawaki, Toshiyuki's friend punched Toshiyuki and freed Chami from his grip, and then he told Naoya to say their names, and then they died. Now comes the heartbreaking moment of Naoya's death. He was glad that he saved Nubawaki and Chami after they saved him before. Ria took Naoya's phone, and by using the characters sent to the victims, she can defeat the king. She told them that she researched the game and found that it's a virus, but that virus had a bug, so she used some antivirus that she made especially for the king's game, and then she succeeded in deleting the king's game virus from the network. Suddenly she got a message saying that she will be punished for breaking the rules, and then she knew that the bug in the virus was only a trap set by the king. While she was on fire, she removed her cloths and showed the abusing marks on her body that her dad gave her every day, before killing himself in the end. She told them that the game gave her the feeling to live after she lost it because of her father. She jumps down the dam while she entrusts the only 2 survivors, Nubawaki and Chami, to defeat the king. Finally Nubawaki, Kenta and Mizuki arrive at Uniki village, which they find the entrance is blocked. And that's the end of the video. Please tell me your opinion, and like the video if you want part 2 of the anime. Take care, and watch other interesting videos.